Memphis, Tennessee, a small city that sits between Arkansas and Mississippi with a huge reputation in music and murder. A place that gave birth to Elvis Presley the King and death to Martin Luther King. Music and murder. Take those two elements and combine them together and you've got what we call Southern gangster rap. Slowed down, bassed out beats laced with haunting tales of money, murder, and mayhem. But where did it all begin? Who is the real pioneer of Memphis rap? Who really put this city on the map and made everyone believe that they too could hit it big in the rap music industry? There was one 16-year-old kid who turned a childhood dream into reality and became the first national rap star in the history of Memphis music and landed a major record deal with Atlantic Records at a time when no one thought it could be done. I'm Gangsta Pat, and this is my story, the biography of a gangster rapper. When I was born, my parents lived on the south side of Memphis in the Shazita Garden projects. I grew up in Shazita Garden, man. Me and Jay both did, you know what I'm saying? And Shazita Garden was pretty rough back in the day. As a child, I still can remember the days when my father used to take me to Stack Studios. My mother worked during the day, so he kept me and took me everywhere he went. To the studio, to the store. Anywhere he had to go, I had to go with him. You know what I'm saying? My father worked as a studio musician for many of the Stax artists and also played drums for Stax superstars like Isaac Hayes and Rufus Thomas. His work began to pay off big time and the money started rolling in. My mother quit her job and we moved from the projects to a nice brick house in Whitehaven. One day my father got a call from Los Angeles. It was an offer to join the world-famous Booker T and the MGs. He accepted, and shortly after we moved to LA. Man, when we got to California, I was like, yes. You know, it was the good life, man. You know, Venice Beach, riding up and down Sunset Boulevard. Man, we had money. You know, Pops had money, man. We used to go shopping. And man, do all kind of stuff in LA, man. We had fun. I can remember my parents just, you know, just spending money, man. We had a ball out there, you know. I remember staring out the window of the high-rise we lived in on Sunset Boulevard, hoping these moments would last forever. But even the tallest buildings in the City of Angels couldn't help us escape the past we left behind. Shortly after, we moved back to Memphis, and my parents worked odd jobs to pay the bills. We lived in a small apartment complex at Airways in Ketchum, down the street from the same projects I was born in. Until one day my father got another offer that would change his career forever. It was a role in the blockbuster, star-studded, soulful classic, The Blues Brothers. I can remember he got the news, man, and it was just a happy moment in the household, you know, and he was like, pack up, man, we going back to LA, you know what I'm saying? After all the shopping sprees and long walks on the beach, the pressure from the music business began to take its toll on my father and put a strain on my parents' relationship. We left LA and landed back in Memphis for the second time. After a few verbal and physical altercations, my mother and father separated and later divorced. The life I once knew, having both parents, crumbled right before my eyes. My mother moved to a small apartment complex in Whitehaven. Just me, my mother, and my sister. When my mother and father separated, man, it was like, you know, family was just split in half, you know. And I can remember feeling afraid because I didn't know what was gonna happen, you know what I'm saying?
With my father being absent, life began to feel empty. I always dreamed that he would come back one day, but it never happened. With no male figure in my life to guide me, I began to look up to my older cousin Jay as a father figure.
Jay like my older brother, you know. We cousins, but we mentally is like we brothers because we, you know, we always stayed in the same household. Either I was at my auntie house or, you know, he was over our house, so we kind of grew up like that, man. And he was always protective, you know what I'm saying? He always tried to teach me how to protect myself, you know what I'm saying? He was streetwise. He hit the streets way before me, so, you know, he kind of knew it all in the streets.
I used to spend every weekend at my aunt's house. I trailed behind Jay and got an up-close look at life as a rider on the mean streets of Orange Mound. I watched my cousin face a lot of tough challenges in the streets.
I be trailing up behind Jay and them, man. We might be walking down the street in the mound. You know, they might bump into some people they been into it with, man, and wham. You know, I'm just watching it go down right there. He always kept me on the side, though. He would never let me get involved, you know what I'm saying? So I used to always sit back and watch the action, man, you know.
Through his battles, I learned one valuable lesson. If you want respect in the streets, you gotta fight for it. At age 12, I began to face tough challenges of my own. My first year in junior high school, I attended Hillcrest High, a school with a rough reputation located in the center of Black Haven. That's where I first witnessed what being bullied felt like.
Hillcrest was like a school you might see in the movies. Pistol-toting thugs come to school drunk and high, big pistol in their pants, man. This, you know, I was 12 years old when I first hit Hillcrest, man, and these dudes had to be like maybe 16, 17, you know.
I began to face the same challenges I watched my cousin overcome in the streets. I linked up with a street gang called the Steamer Crew, led by two kids who would later become my best friends, Eric Doggett and Dwayne Bills. The Steamer Crew was a street gang known for stealing cars, burglary, aggravated assaults, and armed robberies. The more I hung out with the gang, the more trouble I began to get into. I was arrested several times for crimes like auto theft and receiving stolen property.
I got sent to Tall Trees. My partner Dwayne Bills got sent to STC. So we used to write each other back and forth, you know. Most of the people we was running with back then, they either dead or got life in jail, you know. All of them, man. Me and Mac 10 probably the only two survivors out that whole crew. Everybody else either dead or in jail, you know. Our friend Dwayne Bills, he dead. We got a partner named TJ that's got life in prison. Man, we lost a lot of homies.
After my release, I traded my career as a criminal for a career in music. I returned to Hillcrest for a second time, but it was short-lived. After a few suspensions, I was kicked out of Hillcrest for good. I desperately needed a break from Black Haven. My mother sent me to live with my aunt in Orange Mound, where I attended Sherwood Junior High. During the time I attended Sherwood, the life I thought I'd left behind began to follow me, and I started to get in trouble once again.
You know, Sherwood was cool. I was like in my, third year in the 8th grade, you know, so I was a little older than most of the students around me, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't really had no problems up in there with nobody.
One night, while hanging out in Black Haven at a spot called Big Daddy's, I met a local hustler named Fat Tony. He was telling me and a friend of mine how he was going to invest money into building a recording studio and an independent record label. I didn't see him again for months, until one day a childhood friend of mine knocked at my door and told me he wanted me to meet someone named Tony, who wanted to hear me rap. It was the same Tony I met